As many of you know, there are a lot of fake quotes circulating out there on the internet, and those attributed to Marcus Tullius Cicero, the great Roman orator, politician, and philosopher, are really no exception. And we find a kind of mixed bag of these quotes having to do with their origin. Some of them are originating from what we can facetiously call fan fiction, as you'll find out. Others coming from other authors in antiquity, and some much more recent. So we are going to look at 10 fake quotes, particularly egregious ones that are often attributed to Cicero quite uncritically by many people and then shared and reshared. So let's take a look at the first one. The spirit is the true self. The spirit, the will to win, and the will to excel are the things that endure. Now, there is a little bit of that does sound a bit like Cicero, although he never says the spirit or the mind, the animus, is the true self. And as it turns out, where does this quote originate from? It's very close to us in time, and in my case, actually in space, because it comes from the famous NFL coach of the Green Bay Packers, Vince Lombardi, who says, "The spirit, the will to win, and the will to excel are the things that endure." So it's an almost direct quote right from Lombardi himself. Now we move on to another very, very famous quote that actually turns out to be a misquotation of Cicero. "A room without books is like a body without a soul." And now there is a little tiny grain of, let's call it verisimilitude, if not truth, to this, because we find out that Cicero did in fact say something like, "Since Tyranno organized my books, a mind seems to have been added to my house." But here's where knowing some Latin is very helpful. Mind is animus. Soul is anima. So they are not the same term at all, and the Roman thinkers did distinguish those two. As it turns out, where does this quote come from? It comes from a biography of Cicero titled "The Life of Marcus Tullius Cicero" by William Forsyth, who says, referring to this line, that it seemed as if his house had got a soul. So Forsyth seems to be very loosely paraphrasing here and getting things wrong in some respect, taking some liberties, and then it gets into the public hopper and becomes attributed to Cicero as such. And this really does set the stage well for some of the other fake quotes that follow. So here is the first of three that we're going to be looking at. Why? Because they are all from the same author, and that author is not Cicero. "A nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. An enemy at the gates is less formidable, for he is known and carries his banner openly. But the traitor moves amongst those within the gate freely, his sly whispers rustling through all the alleys, heard in the very halls of government itself." Now, this is from Taylor Caldwell, a fairly recent author who wrote a novel that has Cicero as a main character called "A Pillar of Iron." And apparently it was quite a popular novel, and a lot of people mistakenly assumed that the things that were being said by the character Cicero in the novel are what Cicero himself actually said, much as if we were to watch the gladiator and to take, as people have, fake quotes from Marcus Aurelius that are actually part of a movie script. This is essentially fan fiction of a certain sort, and Caldwell probably didn't intend for the words she's putting in Cicero's mouth to be taken as if they are what Cicero said, but many, many people have done that subsequently. Here's another quote from A Pillar of Iron. If our lives are endangered, any and every method of protecting ourselves is morally right. Now, not only is that a quote that isn't from Cicero, it actually goes against something that Cicero says in one of his very important works called On Duties, where he is discussing the duties that we owe to enemies. And so Cicero doesn't think that any and every method of protecting ourselves is morally right. As a matter of fact, he condemns that. So probably Taylor didn't understand Cicero all that well in her novel, and she certainly depicts him poorly. This is a quote that gets used quite a bit by people on the right to justify aggression and violence against those who they perceive as their enemies. Our third quote, which is actually originating once again from Taylor Caldwell's A Pillar of Iron, but takes on an interesting life of its own, runs like this. The budget should be balanced, the treasury should be refilled, public debt should be reduced, the arrogance of officialdom should be tempered and controlled, and the assistance to foreign lands should be curtailed lest Rome become bankrupt. People must again learn to work instead of living on public assistance. So this one actually wound up getting attributed wrongly to Marcus Tullius Cicero in the Congressional record because a representative, Otto Passman, gave a short speech in which he quoted it. And apparently Ronald Reagan also referred to it when he was California governor and was citing bits and pieces of it as well. But it's actually coming from Caldwell's book. So once again, we see a quote take on an entire life of its own. This one given a veneer of respectability and, false truth by having poorly educated public officials citing it as if it was a genuine quote by Cicero. Here we have another thing that Cicero not only didn't say, but wouldn't have said. The closer the collapse of an empire, the crazier its laws. Now, why do I say he wouldn't have said that? Well, to begin with, Cicero is living most of his life in the end of the Roman Republic, not during the Roman Empire. He does get to see the beginning of, the Roman Empire, you can say, and will in fact perish due to some of the power struggles that are taking place, but he's not looking at it in some sort of historical point of view where he can say, yes, the empire's been around for a long time, and like other empires, it's got all sorts of crazy laws. He was there at the very beginning, and so he wouldn't be saying this. Now, where does this actually come from? The closest thing that we have is Tacitus in his Annals, where he says the more corrupt the state, the more numerous the laws. Crazy laws isn't something that Cicero probably would have been saying to put laws down. He probably would have been saying there's too many, or they're poorly organized, or something along those lines. We have another quote here. This time it's actually attributable to another ancient author. Study carefully the character of the one you recommend, lest their misconduct bring you shame. Now, this is not something that is anti-Ciceronian, but it just doesn't happen to be said by Cicero. We know that because it actually is said by Horace in his letters. So, it's not something that Cicero couldn't ever have said, given the other things that we do know he has said. But in point of fact, we know it's not by him. And so people probably shouldn't be attributing to Cicero something that is clearly by another author. We have here another quote by the same author, not Cicero, but Horace. Live as brave men, and if fortune is averse, front its blows with brave heart. Now, not a bad sentiment at all, but it isn't Cicero's. And, why shouldn't we attribute to the person who actually said it the quip that belongs to them? Here we have quite a longish set, the 6 mistakes of men, and this gets attributed to Cicero, but isn't actually by him. So, 6 mistakes mankind keeps making century after century, believing that personal gain is made by crushing others, worrying about things that cannot be changed or corrected, insisting that a thing is impossible because we cannot accomplish it, refusing to set aside trivial preferences, neglecting development and refinement of the mind, attempting to compel others to believe and live as we do. And, maybe there's something quite true about this, but it's not truly attributed to Cicero. And in fact, nobody did attribute it to Cicero until around the 1940s, because before that, they knew that it came from a book written by a guy named Bernard Maydor. Turns up in 1914, and it's called Secrets of Personal Culture and Business Power. That's a sort of common genre of literature at the time, sort of self-helpy book. And interestingly, it turns out that there were 7 mistakes in life, and they just didn't put all of them into that list. So we get 6 that nowadays people attribute to Cicero. Our final quote is quite a funny one in multiple respects. Times are bad. Children no longer obey their parents, and everybody is writing a book. So there's a long history to this, and I'm not going to go through the entire thing. You can go online and look it up quite easily in Quote Investigator. So there was this guy, a professor of philosophy, George Thomas White Patrick, who wrote an article called The New Optimism. And he said that he saw this ancient tablet in the city of Istanbul in a museum. And it was supposedly from 3,800 years before Christ. And it said some of these words on it. And then what we get is that people are repeating this story over and over and over again. And by the 1920s, we get a reworking of the story. And it's W.R. Moody, the son of the famous evangelist, who says that the tablet says, "Our earth is degenerate in these later days. There are signs the world is speedily coming to an end. Children no longer obey their parents. Every man wants to write a book." And so how does this become Cicero? After a while, people start attributing a shortened version of the saying to Cicero. It's not quite clear how, but it would be a weird thing for Cicero to be saying this, especially since he, in fact, complains that people are not doing enough writing, at least philosophical writing, in Latin in the prefaces of many of his books. So, not only wouldn't Cicero say this, but it's also something that we know tracks from not earlier writers, but later writers in the 20th century. So to bring yet another fake quotes video to a close, I am going to give you the same advice that I always do. You should always exercise healthy suspicion or skepticism. If a quote doesn't tell you where it's actually coming from, you probably should be a little bit on guard against it. And if you see a quote and it sounds really good and you think that it's something you'd like to repost, if it doesn't actually say what text it comes from, don't repost it. You're just adding to the problem rather than making things good. And you can say, oh, well, it seems true, or it's a true sentiment. You're doing damage to you could say, our collective mind on the internet. The other thing, demand sources. When people post a quote, if it sounds too good to be true, say, what book did that actually come from? And sometimes people will say, oh, I don't know. I just saw it and it looked pretty cool, so I posted it. And then you can say, well, it's probably a fake quote then. And check out Sententiae Antiquae. They're very good with discussions of fake quotes. And then there's also, of course, Quote Investigator, another great site for finding out which quotes are true and which quotes are falsely attributed to people. So that's it for this one. That's 10 fake quotes attributed falsely to Marcus Tullius Cicero.